Howdy folks, I want to show you my Pinterest board here because I think it might be helpful, particularly to those who are following who are reenactors. You can look me up as Grace Impressions LLC or just Grace Impressions. I have thousands of boards with thousands of pins saved. All of my art stuff, any art reference is saved and it's all organized here. The reason I did it this way was it allowed Pinterest to put everything in order. I was going bonkers trying to find everything, so I went through and put art dash and then the individual things like Amish, animals, barns, boats, buildings, Christmas, and then here's Civil War. So if you're looking for something specific to reenacting, particularly Civil War or Revolutionary War, I do tend to have a lot of that. This is just photos that I pulled for reference photos or to get costume ideas. I also have a ton of costume stuff. So if we go down here, we get through the art, get through Christmas. I've got every kind of Christmas you can imagine. We get into costumes and I have it broken down by decade. So 1820s, 40s, 60s. Your 1860s is going to be the same as the Civil War. So take a look at this. I found this doll designer that does a whole bunch of period accurate, costumes. I was actually looking at that and wondering, could I scale it up into a life-size costume? And I don't know yet, but I was looking for just reference photos. I love this. Let me show you some of the details here that I'm looking at because I want to design a Civil War costume, Civil War period style gown. This right here is just gathered fabric. That's just a strip of fabric that's been gathered on the top, gathered on the bottom, and then this is just gathered, these ruffles are gathered on one side and fitted to the bodice, and then we see it repeated here in the sleeve. When you repeat a pattern, that does tend to be more visually interesting to the eye. The other thing I love about this is the pleating here. She didn't just gather that skirt, it's box pleated, and it's box pleated so that there's 1, 2, 3 layers here, and it forms that gorgeous V. So I am the crazy person that likes to do stuff like that, and I'll come in and just get some ideas here from the boards. And whenever I'm out and about and I'm waiting to see a client, or I'm waiting on the kiddos or something like that, I either knit or I pin for a few minutes. This will probably be something similar to what I will do for my first gown. So this is just repeated pleats where they've gone all the way around the skirt of the gown and just pleated it and sewn that, and it creates that gorgeous pattern. So you can have just real simple fabric and just real simple pleating, and then it gives it a lot of visual interest and makes it really pretty. So let's go back here and we can get back to, that's the costumes 1860s, costumes Civil War, pretty much same thing. The Civil War was early 1860s. You can also look for Victorian. So this one I wanted to show you. This right here is smocking. So if you've never sewn, smocking is where you take this section of fabric and you sew pleats into it, and then you take those pleats and separate them and create little tiny stitches holding them together. So it's a lot of work, but then you have this gorgeous, amazing bodice. This is similar to what I did on my Civil War style wedding gown. I did some of these pin tucks here. They were up higher on the sleeve, and then instead of going straight across the bodice, I went down in a V. Here is some more smocking right here. And this is what I love about older gowns, is just the detailing. They didn't have 30 or 40 or 50 different outfits in their closets like we do today. They had maybe 2 or 3 dresses, but they put a lot of work into those to make them stunning. This right here is hand stitched, and that's contrast fabric so that you see the stitches and you get that gorgeous line down through. It might, I don't know if that is hand stitched, maybe not. If it is, they did a lot of work going into that gown, but this is smocking, and then it's just simple sleeves otherwise. So really big gathered sleeve, and they took some of the gathers and smocked it. And then if we look really close, there's some piping right there, and I love adding piping to a gown. I did that with my wedding gown, and it just frames it really beautifully. With Civil War gowns, you also see, like, this is a really wide ruffle here. She's got a sleeve underneath. You've got pleats up through here, some really tight gathers rather, not pleats. You've got some piping right through here. And then this is a really wide ruffle, 2 really wide ruffles repeating over top of each other. So a lot of times with Civil War gowns, you'll see a tighter bodice and then these bigger sleeves. You can see a lot of bows, you can see some zigzags through the skirts. There's lots of different things that they did to gather interest. This one just has ribbon across the bottom, and that little cap sleeve on top of the straight sleeve is common. Gorgeous detailing here with some inset panels, little ruffles going around through there. This is basically a very long coat, and this is reminiscent of actually Revolutionary style. They had coats that were just a little bit shorter than this, more like this style. That actually harkens quite a bit back to the Revolutionary time period, almost 100 years earlier, but their skirts would have been shorter. If we look through the decades as far as historical costuming goes, you can see how they changed one thing. Like they, made the sleeves bigger one decade, or they made the sleeves smaller the next, or, here in the Civil War, this was the first time that you see hoop skirts. And before that, they would just have petticoats and it would puff it out a little bit, but the hoop made it really big. It was a flexible piece of wire that went through the underskirt. You could sit down on it. It doesn't hurt. I've worn them, but it really puffed it out wide. This was fine if you were a genteel woman and you were wealthy, you were entertaining, you were mainly dressing for looks. This would not work to tend a fire in a cook stove, not even close. And a lot of women did end up injured from the hoop skirts, so they didn't last for a lot of years. But you do see them iconically through the Civil War. So this has this little cap sleeve, and then instead of a straight sleeve, it has a puff, and then it has an insert panel through here that's been gathered. Same fabric, but it's gathered. And we see a lot of the little ringlet curls around the face. There she's got some of the ringlets, a lot of ringlet curls there, little curls here. That's that braid that Queen Victoria was known for, the braid that curls around the ears. She started that. You've got, of course, Scarlett O'Hara with the ringlet curls, and more curls there. And that this hairstyle you see kind of come back in the 1940s with the big barrel roll across the top of the head. There's so much. I love this one. The iconic Scarlett O'Hara, where this is smocking as well. You can't see it here in this photo very easily, but her bodice is heavily smocked. So there's just lots of fun. If you want some references and you don't want to have to go find it all yourself, you're welcome to come to my Pinterest page. I have historical costumes for hair as well, and specific to Victorian hair, because eventually I would like to knit some lace to make a cap. I love this look. This is Victoria, the BBC production. This is just, I think it's gorgeous. So it's kind of a triangle piece that's gathered at the corners. That's a full bonnet with just really long lace edges. That is more of a scarf there. You see this look in Gone with the Wind. There you can see the triangle through here. And here's a really good way to look at it. They took a handkerchief, that's a square handkerchief. This is a long rectangle handkerchief, and then it's gathered with a comb at the top, and then you pin it into the back of the hair and it hangs down, and you get that nice lacy look. I'm gonna see if I can knit something like that, maybe with some of the yarn I get on the Pennsylvania Yarn Quest. Oh, here's that iconic braid that Victoria was known for. So she reigned over in England from, I believe, the late 1820s or early 1830s until almost the end of the 1800s. She was, I think, 1890s when she passed. So she defined a lot of the fashion. Whatever she switched over to, the whole world just kind of followed. This is classic Civil War. This is smocking right through here with ribbon, and then ribbon cross over top of a mesh to hold the hair. This is a good behind view where they took just a piece of the hair, braided it, pulled the rest back in a bun, and then looped it under the ear and wrapped it around the bun. That would not be a difficult hairstyle to do. This is early on when she was pulling her hair back. So we have lots and lots of options here. I also went to Pinterest for my ideas for my Civil War socks. So let's get past the costumes here and get down to knitting because I have everything under the sun. I've got every kind of recipe saved too. I have everything under the sun when it comes to knitting. There's jewelry, there's Halloween. Okay, so here we go. I started out with just knit and crochet, throwing everything into one board, and it drove me nuts trying to find stuff. So that's when I started separating it out. So I've got brioche and Celtic and Christmas and scarves and collars. So if you're looking to knit some accessories, you can do that. I have historical. This is a Sontag. I am definitely going to knit one of those to go with the gown once I've got it made. And down here we went to socks. So when I was researching the Civil War socks, the first thing I started looking at was how would they have been constructed back then? Because today, if you start knitting socks, there are a bazillion super cute patterns that I just drove over, and I have at least 1,000 saved. And I've never even knit socks before. I don't know what that's all about, but I've planned to knit socks for a lot of years. But this is not what they would have made for the soldiers. This would take a lot more time than the plain stockinette that you see here. And the whole idea was to get as many socks done as you could. You had women that might have been knitting 2 to 3 pairs a month of socks because they had all kinds of other things going on, and they stepped it up to 2 to 3 pairs a week. So in order to do that, you're going to have to pick a simpler pattern here, not something crazy and complex. It's going to have to be something where the heel and the toes can be taken out and re-knitted so that you don't have to re-knit the entire sock in order to repair it, because these men are marching all day long. And these socks are the difference between getting blisters or not getting blisters, being warm, maybe losing toes or a foot to frostbite and then gangrene. A lot of soldiers did not die from wounds on the battlefield. They died for lack of socks. They died from lack of warm clothes to wear in the winter or protective clothing to wear while they were marching. So I came through here and I looked and looked and looked and kind of got distracted with pretty things, and then eventually came back to finding a really simple sock pattern to knit that would be similar to the Civil War. I also looked for something that I could easily give to you, to anyone that was following, that would be able to do that for free. So your drops designs are often free. A lot of these are noted if they're free. You've got a World War I sock pattern here. But what I ended up doing was getting the pattern from Summer Lee Design Company, because not only is her pattern free, it comes with 5 different tutorials on how to do it. She literally walks you through every single step. The socks have turned out pretty good. My first one was kind of wonky. I'm gonna do a whole episode where I walk you through the socks and how I made them, and also kind of what I learned about Civil War knitting in the process. But if you want to knit your own sock, either go to YouTube or go to Pinterest and find Summer Lee Design Company or any other free sock. But if you want one that has a free pattern, B, a tutorial that goes with it, this is the one that I found that I like the best. So happy knitting, happy Civil War costuming, and happy Civil War researching, and stay tuned to see the actual socks turn out.